Okay, so today we will study Next.js. Okay, so here we are, Next.js. So Next.js in a free and open source web application framework. It is based on Vue.js, which is also a JavaScript framework, which is also an open source framework. So we will study Next.js. So we will learn Next.js, creating a Next.js app. So why we are using Next.js? Because code has to run a web application in React from the scratch. We have to the code has to be bundled using a bundler module bundler like Webpack and has to be transformed using a compiler like Babel. We need a production optimization such as code splitting. We need SEO and performance issues. Statically render some pages for high performance. You might also want to use server-side rendering for client-side rendering. You might have to write some server-side code to connect your React apps to your data store. A framework can solve these problems, but such a framework must have the right level of abstraction. Okay. Otherwise, it won't be very useful. It also needs to have great developer experience, ensuring you and your team have an amazing experience while writing your code. Okay. So Next.js, the React framework, enter Next.js, the React framework. Next.js provides a solution to all of the above problems, but more importantly, it puts you and your team in the pit of success when building React applications. Next.js has a best-in-class developer experience and many built-in features. A sample of them are an intuitive page-based routing system with support for dynamic routes, pre-rendering, both static generation SSG and server-side rendering SSR are supported on the per page basis, automatic code splitting for faster page loads, client-side routing and optimized prefetching, built-in CSS, SAS support and support for the CSS in JS library, development environment which supports hot module replacement API routes to build API endpoints with serverless functions, fully extendable. Next.js is used in tens of thousands of production facing websites and web applications, including many of the world's largest brands. About this tutorial, this free interactive course will guide you through how to get started with Next.js. In this tutorial, you learn Next.js basics by creating a very simple blog app. Here's an example of the final result. So let's see the example. And next, then we will head to the source and start building this block. So it is by Shu Sugi. Hello, I'm Shu. I am software engineer and translator. This is the blog. This is the blog written in Next.js. So your answers you can print. Okay. Nice. It is very basic blog. Now let's get started. This tutorial assumes basic knowledge of JavaScript and React. So I have already made a e-commerce website in React.js. So and I'm pretty much confident with JavaScript right now because I have around 1.5 plus years working with JavaScript. So I'm pretty good with the basic knowledge of it. If you have never written React code, you should go to the official React tutorial first. If you're looking to the next interview, click here, start now. First, let's make sure that your development environment is ready. If you don't have Node.js installed, I've installed you Node.js version endpoint also. Let me check my Node version. 1 minute. Check it. turn on live captions. Okay, so let me check my node version. So currently I'm on node version 12.16, which is definitely greater than 10.13. You will be using your own accelerated terminal app. So in this, to show this demo, I will use the VS Code editor and terminal app, which is I'm using. If you're on Windows, no, I am not on Windows, create a Next.js app. So to create a Next.js, open a terminal, cd into directory to create the app in and run the following command. Okay. So let me make. Let me move to the third this and let me make project proceed next. And in that I will be copy pasting this line of code. So under the hood, this uses the tool called create next app, like the create React app. So which bootstraps a Next.js app for you. It uses this template. Which template? This template. Through the mention example flag. If it doesn't work, please take a look at this page. So this is the example we are talking about. It is working pretty well and installing right now. Till then, let's continue to the blog creation. Run the development server. So once it will be installed, I will be running this. Then run the following command. This starts your Next.js app development server more or later on the port 3000. Let's check. Let's check to see if it's working. As we open 3000. Okay, what do you see? Okay. Now I will cd into the Next.js and I will be doing npm run dev. Okay, please run next command. Yarn upgrade. Okay, there's no connection to the anonymous. So it is ready on localhost. Let me head to the local. Okay, so we are live on our local host. Welcome to the Next.js. Get started by editing, documentation, learn, deploy, powered by Vercel. Okay, so welcome to Next.js. I got. So yes, correct. Good job. Welcome to the Next.js. You should see a page like this when you access this. This is a starter template. Okay, I got that. Let's try to edit the page next. Editing the page. Let's try editing the starter page. Make sure Next.js development server is still running. Open pages index.js. So I will be using a new tab for that. New tab. In that I will be opening it in the my text editor, which will be I will be using Visual Studio Code for now. And so they have pages index.js. Okay, I'm on pages index.js. With your text editor, find your text that says welcome to under the h1 tag and change it to the learn, save the file. Welcome to. Okay, saving the file, save the file. Okay, so it's changed here also. Nice. I was hidden in space, so no worries. Get started by editing this. The Next.js development server has the hot reloading feature when you make changes. Okay, every React also has no new. I have not found anything new till now in this Next.js. No refresh needed. Okay. Next up, creating pages. Great job. That's the first lesson. In the next lesson, we'll talk about creating more pages and navigating between pages. You should keep the reference server running, but it's when to start, hit Control C. Okay, next lesson, navigating between the pages. So about the Next.js created in the general website and web application could have many different pages. Okay, what you learn in this chapter: create a new page, learn how to link the component to enable client-side navigation between pages, and learn about built-in support for coding, code splitting, and prefetching. Okay. If you are continuing from the previous lesson, you can skip this page, click the button. Okay, pages in the Next.js. In Next.js, page is a React component exported from the file the page in the pages directory. Pages are associated with root based on the file name. For example, in the development index is with root uh, /root backslash root, and pages post.js is associated with the pages first post root. We already have the pages in there, so we'll create pages post first root.js. To see how it works, create a new page, create the post directory under pages, new directory, named post, posts. Okay, following contents, first post.js, so they are exporting a function named first for. Okay, nothing new right now, till now. The component can have any name but must export the default export. Now make sure that okay, this is how I can create different pages in Next.js. So they are, let's head to the first post pages and post first. What's this? First post. First post. Okay, this is the first post. I'm on the root. This is working. So it is also no new. This is how I create. Okay, simple create JS under the page directory and path. In a way, this is similar to building websites using HTML or PHP files. Instead of writing HTML and you write JS, JavaScript extensible, and use React components. Let's add a line to newly added page so that we can navigate to it from homepage. Okay. So when linking between pages on a website, you generally use a link tag, link HTML tag. In Next.js, you use link tag, React component, link React component that wraps a link tag, allows you to do client-side navigation to different pages in the application using link. First, in the page, we import the link component from the next link by adding this to the top of the line. Done. And then modify this line in the h1 tag. The h1 tag to this. Learn to okay. Changed. Okay. Next, replace the contents of the first post with the following. They are just linking this route to the home page. So nothing new. Now when we will head towards this, we will be seeing a route to the there. Where is the route? Okay, we have to, okay, As you can see, the link components in here, but instead of your ref and put a tag inside it. Let's check to see how it did work. You now should have a link on each page, allowing you to go back and forth. So this is the link. This page, back to home, this page. Cool. Okay, next. There is so much next. Next.js, next button, next lesson. Client-side navigation. The link component enables client-side navigation between two pages in the same Next.js app. Client-side navigation, the page transition happens using JavaScript, which is faster than default navigation done by the browser. Here is a simple way you can verify. Use a browser's development tool to change the background CSS property of HTML to yellow. Click on the links to go back and forth between the two pages. You see that the yellow background persists between page transitions. Okay, yes. Let's try. Let's try moving back and forth. Let's inspect it and let's change the color of the HTML. HTML, we have to change the HTML color. This one, whole body. Why it's not changing? So let's now let's okay, this is the thing. If you use if you use the instead of link component and did this, the background color could be cleared on link because the browser does a full refresh. Okay, so using this link inside this keeps the browser color synced. Code splitting and prefetching. Next.js does code splitting automatically. So each page only loads what's necessary for that page. That means when home page is rendered, the code or the code other pages is not served initially. This ensures the home page load quickly even if you had hundreds of pages. Only loading the code for the page or request also means that the page becomes isolated. If a certain page throws an error, the rest of the application would still work. Furthermore, in a production build of Next.js, whenever link components appear in the browser's viewport, Next.js automatically prefetches the code for the link page in the background time. By the time you click the link, the code for the destination page will already be loaded in the background and the page transition will be near instant. Summary: Next.js automatically optimizes your applications for best performance by code splitting, client-side navigation, and prefetching in production. You create raw routes as files under pages and use the built-in link component. No routing libraries are required. You can learn more about link component and routing in general. So this is something new in the Next.js from the React. In React, we have to either use the React router to route the different pages, to route the different components. But now we can use the link component inside it using a link tag. If you need to, we can use that. If you need to link an external page outside the Next.js app, just use an um, link tag without link component. If you add a tag, if you need to add attributes like, for example, class name, add it to the a tag, not to the link tag. Okay. Assets metadata and CSS. The second page we added currently does not have styling. Let's add some CSS to the style page. Next.js has built-in support for CSS and Sass. For the purpose of this code, we will use CSS. This lesson will also talk about how Next.js handles static assets like images and pages metadata like title tags. Uh, what you will learn in this lesson is how to add static files like images to the Next.js, which you will be doing mainly in your portfolio. Building a portfolio app in Next.js can be my next tutorial, or maybe I will be following this only right now. How to customize what goes inside the head tag for each page, how to create a reusable React computer style using CSS modules, how to add global CSS in pages app.js. Some useful tips for styling in next.js. If you're looking for, okay, I'm not looking for the documentation. Let's start now. If you are contributing, okay, next, skip this, next, assets. First, let's talk about the next.js handle static assets such as images. Next.js can serve static images like images under a top-level public directory. Files inside the public can be referenced from the root of the application, similar to the pages. If you open pages index.js in your application and take a look at the footer tag, we refer the logo image like so. Okay, let's head over to the pages.js. In this index.js, and in that let's find the image tag, the footer. Yes, here it is. So in the image tag, in your we refer to the logo image like so. So it's nothing new. Okay, the logo image class name is logo. Logo image exists inside the public directory at the top level. At the top level in the public directory. For your application, the public directory is also useful for robots, so it's a Google site verification. So this is for the SEO purposes. So it is very good, and any other static assets. So like it becomes hard to manage the static assets sometimes. So the Next.js handle for you, which is great. Metadata. What if you wanted to modify the metadata of the pages, such as the title tag, or title tag is a part of the head HTML tag. So let's dive into how we can modify the head tag in the Next.js page. Open the pages index.js in your editor and take a look at the lines. These lines, it's a head tag, which is a part of Next.js head. It is not simple HTML head tag, so it is a little bit different. Notice that. What to notice? Result head is used instead of lowercase. Yes, we have noticed the React component that is built in Next.js. It allows you to modify the head of the page. You can import the head component from the next head module, adding head to the first page. We haven't added a title to our this route, so let's add one. Let's first import head from the head. Import it from next. Next head, and let's add a heading tag. Let's add, let's say we can add it like this. Okay, so let's add to that root, this root, and whatever the head is not defined. How? Import head from head. Okay, it's not completely capital. Okay, my bad. So this is the heading and this is the other thing. Let's go back to this, and this should not say first post. Okay, first post. By using a browser, you should see the title tag is added to head. Let's inspect this. Let's inspect this. So here's the title tag. Just add it to head. But what we have done, we have added this tag in a. We have modified it actually by using the head, capital head. Okay. To learn more about it, okay. Next, CSS styling. So they have a built-in CSS. Let's talk about CSS. Already have some styling. If you look at the page index.js, you see a code like this. Let's see. Okay. So there is a style tag in which a JSX. What is this syntax? Okay, some CSS is written in this. Okay. Okay. This is using a library called styled JSX. Styled JSX. It is using library called styled JSX. It's a CSS in JS library. It lets you write CSS within a React components. Okay. So, and the CSS styles will be scoped. CSS styles. Other components won't be affected. So Next.css has built-in support for styled JSX. That's good. But you can also use other popular CSS like style components or emotion. Writing and importing CSS has a built-in support with SAS, which allows you to import .css and .js file. Using popular CSS libraries like Tailwind CSS is also supported. In this lesson, we'll talk about how to write your imports. Okay. Layout component. First, create a layout component which will be common across all pages. So create a top level directory called components, as we do always. Sorry, we have to create a directory named components. Great. Inside, create a file called layout.js. So layout.js. In layout.js, this content, created a function, pass the children as a prop, return this children, and export it for use in difference. Then in the page's first post, import layout and make it the outermost component. So this the outermost component. Okay. So first let me import it, and making this the topmost component. Okay. Adding CSS. Now let's add some styles for layout. To do so, we'll use CSS modules. First, let's import CSS files in a React component. Create a file called layout in the components layout modules.css module.css. Layout. Let's copy paste it. In that, some pretty CSS. Max width 3x36 rm. Padding margin. Important to use CSS module, the CSS file must, okay, we know that. Module, this is important. This is, we know already, this is important. To use this in layout, you need to import it as styles. Using layout, you need to import it as styles. So let's import as style. Use styles.class as class name. In this case, the class name is container. So this. So this is layout. I will head towards this, and here's the CSS. Light. Center, yes. Automatically generates unique class names. Now, if you take a look at HTML in your browser dev tools, you notice that the div tag has a class name that looks like layout container. This is called CSS module. It automatically generates unique class names. As long as you use CSS module, you don't have to worry about class name collisions. Furthermore, near load splitting works for CSS. It ensures a minimum amount of CSS load for each page. This results in smaller bundle size. These modules are extracted from the bundles and then generates CSS files that are loaded automatically by Next.js. CSS modules are useful for components level styles, but if you want to load some CSS to be loaded by every page, Next.js has support for that as well. To load global CSS, create a file called _app.js under the pages. App.js _app.js, and add the following content. This app component is a top level component which will common across all the different pages. You can use this app component to keep state when navigating between the pages. For example, restart the development server. Important, you need to restart the development server when you add this app.js. Press Ctrl+C to stop the run and run again. So here is my dev server, and let's stop it by pressing Ctrl+C. Now again starting it. started already. Is it? Yeah. In the Next.js, you can add global CSS files by importing from the. You cannot import global CSS anywhere else. The reason that global CSS can't be imported outside of it is that global CSS affects all elements of the page. If you would to navigate from the home page, global styles from the home page affect unintentionally. So you can place the cursor anywhere. So let's do the following. Create a top level styles directory and create a global.css. So this is top level styles directory. And in that we have global.css file. So this is the global CSS which will be on every page. Copy pasting. Okay. So I'll import this. So let me import in the app.js so that it can be applied to whole app. Is it applied? Yeah. Now if you access the first post, you see that the styles are applied. Yes, the styles are applied. First post, back to home. If okay, if it didn't, make sure you restart. Okay, it did. To summarize what we've learned so far, to use CSS modules, import a CSS file, name modules from any component you use, global CSS, import pages, and underscore app.js. So polishing layout. So far, we have only added minimal React CSS code just to illustrate concepts such as CSS module. Before we move on to the next lesson, data fetching. This is what we do maximum times. Let's polish our page styling and code. Download your portfolio picture. Okay. First, we'll be using your profile picture for the final design. Download your profile picture from GitHub to okay or elsewhere. Use this file. Create an images directory inside the public directory. So in the public directory, I can't find public directory. Where is the, yes, this is the public directory. In this, I will create an image directory or images directory, sorry. And save the picture, profile picture in the public images directory. So let me have my image from my PC. Where is it? Okay, this is my profile. Let me copy this. And, okay, copy pasting is not allowed. No worries. Copied. Okay, profile.png. Okay. Profile.png. Cool. The image size should be around, I don't know what is size. Let's see that later. You may remove the unused SVG logo file directory under the public directory. removing this logo and this web icon. I'm also removing this. Are you sure you want to move styles into images? Cancel. Yes. So this is my profile image, which will be, I'm going to make a portfolio. Update components layout.module.css. Components layout.module.css. What to update in that? Simply copy and paste it. It's add some more polished style codes. Okay. Header image. Okay. Create styles utils modules.css. Utils style. Inlet styles. Third, let's create a set of utility CSS class for typography and other that are useful across multiple components. Let's add it as a CSS module at the styles utils.module.css. Add it. Update layout.js. Fourth, copy the following code to the component and change your name at the top of your name to your name. Here's what's next. It's layout.js, and in that, changing my name. Cool. So meta tag, meta tag like OG image, boolean home prop, which will be adjust the size of the title. Back to home link at the bottom if home is false. So this is the site title. Next.js sample website. Site title will be my name only. Okay, let's from now. What else? This is the head. It's the home. If home is true, then this image will be rendered. If false, then the link will be rendered. Okay. Finally, let's update the index.html as follows. Index.js. That's it. Import head from the next head. Okay. Okay. So all the layouts are coming from the layouts. Semi. And section is coming from the util styles. And that's it. Yes, then replace your self-introduction with your self-introduction. Here's an example with the authors. So I have already my portfolio site. So let me copy that from now. Introduction. Okay. Example. That's it. We now have, but why the image is not coming? Image is not coming. Name is profile.png. This is the same name as they have told me. You can remove public images profile.jpg. Okay, they have saved in a JPG format, so they might be having import in a JPG format. So let's search for profile.jpg. Okay, but it's not JPG, it's PNG. Cool. Now here, okay, it's a little bit stretched out, but here it is. So I'm a student developer based in I build web apps and everything in between. So done. That was all for building a basic portfolio. You can add a couple of things after that. And that's it. What's next? The last is the styling tips. We will be having pre-rendered dynamic in the next lectures. Styling tips. Here are some styling tips that might be helpful. You can just read through the following sections. No need to make changes to your app. You can read through the following section. No need to make changes to your app. Using class names, library to toggle classes. Class names is a simple library that lets you toggle class names easily. You can install it using the npm install class names or yarn add class names. Please read it, but here's a basic usage. Suppose that you want to create an alert component which accepts a type which can be success or error. If it's success, you can text color to be green. If you want to text, you can first write a CSS module, alert module like this. Okay, and use class names like this. Import CN from class names, importing the styles from the alert, and class name equals to CN. The success type, success. Customizing post CSS config. Out of the box, with no configuration necessary, complex CSS using post CSS. So you can create a top level file called postcss.config.js. This is usually if you are using libraries like Tailwind CSS. What is Tailwind CSS? Unity for CSS framework for rapidly building custom designs. Okay, nice. Cool. I'm not using it. Using Sass, and you install Sass. You import Sass directly. You can import Sass. That's it. Next slash. This is the most important thing: pre-rendering and data fetching. Uh, we like to create a block. Here's a desired result. Okay. But so far we've added no block content. In this lesson we will know how to fetch external block data into our app. We store the block content in the file system. But it's work if the content is stored elsewhere, example database or headless CMS. What you learn in this lesson: Next.js pre-rendering feature. This is a really nice thing. Each generated HTML. Each generated HTML is associated with the minimum JavaScript code necessary for the page. When a page is loaded by the browser, its JavaScript code runs and makes the pages fully interactive. This process is called hydration. Nice. It is always hydrated. Check that pre-rendering happening. You can check whether pre-rendering is happening by taking the following steps. Disable JavaScript in your browser. Here's how in Chrome. Let's disable. Open Ctrl-Shift P and JavaScript. Disable JavaScript. Okay, so there is no change because it is pre-rendered by the static HTML. Allow you to see the UI without running JavaScript. Nice. Note that you can try the above steps on local, but CSS won't be loaded if you disable JavaScript. So this should not be blue if I disable JavaScript. I have disabled the JavaScript and page is rendered, JavaScript is rendered, but CSS is removed. Nice. If your app is a plain reader without any, there is no pre-rendering, so you won't be able to see the app if your default Java. So like React WHI fee, it is made in React. 1 minute. Let's see this arrow. Let's refresh it. JavaScript is disabled, but then too the images is not rendered, otherwise it is rendered. So pre-rendering was is a quick graphical summary. Initial load pre-rendering HTML is displayed hydration. Real components are initialized and app becomes interactive. If your app has interactive components likely they will be active after JS loads. No pre-rendering plain React app. Initial web app is not re-rendered. React components are initialized app becomes interactive. Now there are two forms of pre-rendering in the Next.js: static generation and server-side rendering. Next.js has two forms of pre-rendering: static generation and server-side rendering. The difference in the line is generates staging for page. Pre-rendering methods that generate staging at the build time. The pre-rendered simulation uses request. Server-side rendering is a pre-rendering that makes staging on the request page. Static generation. The HTML is generated at the build time and is reused for each request. Next.js will build the app for production. The HTML is generated, reused for each request. Server-side rendering. The HTML is generated in each request page is requested to the Next.js and the HTML is generated and given to as a response. And in development mode, when you run npm run dev or yarn dev, every page is pre-rendered on each request, even for pages that use static generation. Per page basis. Importantly, Next.js let you choose which pre-rendering form to use for each page. You can create a hybrid Next.js app by creating static generation for most pages and using server-side rendering for others. Okay, so we can manage. You can choose use form to use for each page. Which when to use static versus server. So we recommend using static with and without date whenever possible, because your page can be built once and served by CDN, continuous deployment, and networking. Continuous delivery network, which makes it much faster than having a server render the page on every request. You can use static generation for many type of pages, including marketing pages, blog posts. They are completely static. E-commerce product picture listings, help and documentation. Okay, nice. You should ask yourselves, can I pre-render this page ahead of user's request? Render this page ahead of a user's request? If the answer is yes, then you should choose static generation. Although the static generation is not a good idea if you cannot pre-render a page ahead of user's request. Maybe you page request frequently update data and the page content every request. In that case, your server render you can use server rendering. It will be slower, but the pre-rendered page will always be up to date. Or you can skip pre-rendering and use the client-side JavaScript to populate data. We'll focus on static generation. In this lesson, we'll focus on static generation. Static generation with and without data. Static generation can be done with and without data. So for pages we pretty do not require fetching external. Those pages will return to be statically generated when the app is built for production. Static generation without data. For pages that can be generated without fetching external data at build time. The HTML is generated, no need to fetch external data. Does it work well in this when you export a page component? Export an async function called getStaticProps. If you do this, then getStatic will run at the build time in the production, and inside the function you can fetch external data and pass the page. Okay, this will have some data dependencies, so when you pre-render this page at the build time, make sure to resolve them first. In development mode, it runs on each present set. It is easier to learn by doing, so let's use it. Blog data. We know at blog data to our application using the file system. Each will be a markdown file. Create a new top level directory called post. This is not the same as pages posts. So thank you everyone. It just took me 2 hours and 28 minutes to complete this. So you can also try it.